Now let's get into today's topic. Have you ever been told a project is almost done, but when you actually look at it, it's clear there's still a lot left to do? That's the exact frustration Mr. Sammy raised recently in a discussion that caught my attention. He brought up an issue we often overlook, how progress is communicated and what completion really means. So here's the big question. How can a project be in the completion phase when everything around it still looks incomplete? And what exactly is a 1310? Why are people talking about a second set of books? When someone says a project is in its completion phase, it usually means that most of the critical work is done, and what's left are final details or cleanup tasks. But what happens when the actual situation doesn't reflect that? Maybe deadlines are slipping, teams are still in the thick of it, or unresolved issues are piling up. Mr. Sammy noticed that kind of mismatch and pointed it out, because saying a project is almost complete doesn't always paint the full picture. The term 1310 often refers to a specific point in a project timeline. Think of it as a milestone, like stage 13 out of 15. If we're at 1310, it implies we're close to the finish line. But what if progress doesn't seem to reflect that? Why do the reports say nearly complete, while the reality on the ground says otherwise? This is where the idea of a second set of books comes in. In project or financial contexts, this usually means there's an alternate system of tracking, a behind-the-scenes record that doesn't match the official reports. One version might say the project is 90% done, while the internal version says there are still major blocks to clear. Think of it like using two different maps to get to one place. If one is accurate and the other isn't, you could end up totally lost. Imagine you're visiting a construction site that's supposed to be 95% complete. But when you get there, the windows aren't installed, concrete is still being poured, and safety checks haven't even started. Sure, maybe certain milestones are technically checked off on paper, but that doesn't reflect what you're seeing. If the official reports claim everything is on schedule while the workers know they're weeks behind, something's not right. That's how confusion starts, and it affects everyone, especially those relying on those reports to make decisions. So why do two sets of records exist in the first place? Sometimes it's intentional, to make things look better than they are. Other times it's because of miscommunication, poor documentation, or disorganized project management. But regardless of the reason, the outcome is the same. People lose trust. What can be done about it? First, we need transparency. If there are delays, own them. If things aren't going to plan, be upfront. Honesty builds confidence, even when the news isn't great. Second, everyone involved in a project should be working from the same information. A unified tracking system can prevent misunderstandings and help ensure everyone, from workers to investors, is aligned. Regular updates, clear communication, and consistent documentation can go a long way. Now, switching gears a little, let's talk about something that's been circulating in the Dinar community. The 90 trillion dinars that are currently outside the banking system. That number is huge, so what does it actually mean? It means that this money isn't part of the economy. It's not circulating through banks, not being spent or invested, and not helping drive growth. Instead, it's sitting in private homes, safes, drawers, or maybe even under mattresses. It's basically idle cash. How did we get here? Over the years, more and more dinar holders, both in Iraq and around the world, have chosen to hold on to their money instead of using it. Many are waiting for a specific event, a revaluation of the currency, often called an RV. The idea is that the dinar will increase in value at some future point, and holding on to it now could yield big returns later. But that raises an important question. Who actually holds this money? A lot of it is believed to be in the hands of individuals, not banks or corporations. That's what makes this such a complex issue. When you've got trillions in currency just sitting on the sidelines, it impacts the economy in a real way. It limits liquidity, slows investment, and makes it harder for the country's financial system to function at full strength. So, why is it so important to bring that money back into circulation? Because when more money moves through banks, businesses, and investments, the entire economy benefits. Jobs are created, infrastructure gets funded, and businesses grow. Think of it as energy. When it's stored up, it can't power anything. But once it's released and channeled correctly, it fuels progress. Let's say the dinar is revalued and people feel confident in its future. That confidence could prompt them to deposit their dinars in banks, use them for purchases, or invest in businesses. All of that strengthens the economy. It's a chain reaction. More money in circulation leads to more economic activity, which leads to more opportunity. But as promising as that sounds, there's a risk, too. If too much money enters the system all at once, it could lead to inflation, maybe even hyperinflation. Prices could skyrocket if the economy isn't ready to absorb that volume of currency. This is where management becomes crucial. Financial institutions and the government will need to carefully monitor the flow of money and ensure that reintroduction happens steadily and sustainably. We've seen examples from other countries where sudden changes in currency value led to panic buying, cash runs, or economic instability. That's why gradual planning, clear communication, and a measured approach are essential. If people believe the dinar is gaining value, they'll either want to spend it or hold on to it for even greater returns. Both scenarios have a big impact on public confidence and economic behavior. Banks play a vital role in this transition. They'll be the main points for conversion, storage, lending, and investment. But are they prepared for that level of activity? That's still an open question. If dinar holders flood the banks all at once, the system has to be ready to handle it. On a more personal level, imagine what a revalued dinar could mean for daily life. Increased purchasing power could improve quality of life. People could afford more, invest more, and plan for a future with greater stability. But again, it all comes down to trust, infrastructure, and careful economic planning. So whether we're talking about unfinished projects or a nation's currency, the underlying theme is the same. Transparency and trust matter. Accurate reporting matters. Open, honest communication matters. Mr. Sammy's concerns might seem like a small point at first glance, but they actually reflect something much bigger. Our need for clarity in a world that's often full of mixed signals. Whether you're tracking a construction project or following currency news, it's okay to ask questions. It's smart to be curious, and it's wise to expect clarity, not just confidence. Thanks for taking the time to dig into this topic with us today. If you've ever experienced a situation where a project seemed nearly done but wasn't, or if you've got thoughts on the dinar situation, drop them in the comments. Your story might resonate with someone else watching right now. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. We've got more honest conversations and deep dives coming your way. Until next time, stay informed, stay thoughtful, and keep asking the right questions.